of red meat. It's expected to increase by between 50 and 60% by the end of the year. Fuel prices and interest rate hikes are also expected to put more pressure on already battling consumers. But how prepared are we to cope with the challenges of high meat prices? Are we going to import more from other countries? How are local meat producers going to compete with cheap imports in terms of pricing? Let's get some perspective from Dr. Xolile Ngethu, who is the Program Manager of the National Red Meat Development Program under the National Agricultural Marketing Council. And we're going to talk about the state of meat production in the country and pricing. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to our program.
Good afternoon, Collins, and good afternoon to the viewers.
Right. Are South African farmers able to produce enough meat since we are importing beef from South American countries like Brazil and Argentina?
Collins, our farmers are able to produce what we desire as a country.
Now, given the drought that has affected farmers recently, are they going to resort to a desperate sale to mitigate the risk of losing their cattle?
As you are right in saying the situation to a large extent is compounded by the drought, and also noting that we are getting into the winter season. So you've got the combination of two factors in this case. But in terms of our capability as a country, we are able to, especially if we can tap into the undefined informal market.
So now when it comes to pricing, how are we going to strike a balance on demand versus supply, and all this, cascading to affordability by the already hard-pressed consumers?
Collins, I think the biggest challenge we're facing as a country is that 80% of the meat we consume comes from the feedlot environment. And as you know, the feedlot environment uses grain, and currently the price of maize per ton is skyrocketed to almost 5,000 rands a ton, when in the past few years it's always been bordering between 1.8 and 2.2. So I think the best answer for us lies in us finding alternate strategies in feeding our cattle to get them ready for slaughter.
All right, just before you go, Dr. Ngethu, I'm imagining a person who is importing meat from Brazil now, and a farmer who wants to sell cattle so that it can be slaughtered and sell at the local butcheries. In terms of pricing, I just want to understand, how much is imported beef going to cost versus the locally produced beef? Please draw a comparison for me there.
Because the import of the meat, especially from the Southern American states, is at dollar price. The imports will have a bit of a better competition if the dollar is much lower in terms of value compared to the rand. Mm-hmm. But if the rand is improving this way, we are able to tweak and turn the situation to the local farmers' favor. Okay. So the rand-dollar exchange will also play a role in this case, including the tariffs, of course. Okay,
so in your view, are we going to have local meat being more expensive than imported ones, or is it going to be vice versa?
What normally happens, you'll find the biggest import we do currently is the import of live animals from our neighboring countries. The bulk of the meat that is imported from Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina is mainly frozen meat. Mm-hmm. The answer in that lies in us systematically educating our consumers about the difference between frozen and fresh meat. Yes, affordability plays a role in this case, but if we want to grow our industry, we have to be proudly South African, if I can put it that way.
All right. I think this is a subject that we have to discuss quite extensively, but we'll do that in our next program. But thank you very much for making time for talking to us on this Triple FA.